Welcome to Life Under Quarantine. When I started this series back at the beginning of the stay-at-home orders, when everybody was really dealing with this sudden change, one of the things I noticed immediately was traffic went from fairly constant to nothing. And especially in my neighborhood, it was very obvious. It's a residential neighborhood, but it's also kind of a cut-through for various things. So to sit on the porch here and have no cars come by for 20, 30, 40 minutes was dramatic. Walking around the neighborhood, being able to walk in areas of the neighborhood that I'd never literally seen before and not have to worry about where cars were and where they were coming from and how fast they were going was honestly kind of cool. Over time, as people have gotten used to the stay-at-home order and the parameters and what's safe and what isn't safe, and I suspect as a lot of people have gotten just done with being at home, there's been kind of a steady increase in traffic out and around the neighborhood. Now, for somebody like me, honestly, it was really nice when there was no traffic at all because it was quiet. You could hear the birds. There was no noise. And that has definitely become not the case. Now, I get it. I'm an introvert. I don't mind staying at home. In fact, it's kind of my preferred state, right? And I know I'm kind of an outlier in this. And the whole deal with introversion versus extroversion is an introvert like me spends energy dealing with other people. An extrovert, like a lot of people I know, like probably most people, honestly, gain energy from interacting with other people. So it's not really a matter of people being whiny or not wanting to follow the rules or something like that. It's that for their own personal health, there's a lot of people who really need to interact face to face with other human beings. Honestly, even I do. Although the number of people that I need to interact with is very, very small. But I personally know other people who are very not that way, and they really need to be interacting with people, and they are legit kind of suffering through this. So when I talk about my own anxiety, it's a weird kind of juxtaposition because on the one hand, to be healthy, I have to acknowledge and respect what I need to be healthy. On the other hand, I have to acknowledge that what is healthy for me and good for me is not necessarily healthy or good for other people. And of course, like I've mentioned before, the whole paradox of this situation coming from a pandemic where people are sick and people have died, which is terrible. So this week, I'm actually going back to work. It's reduced hours. It's going to be low key. It'll be fine. I get to see some people that I care about and haven't seen for quite a while. So there's no real downside other than I like being at home, and I've really been able to accomplish a lot of things that I have been wanting to accomplish. Because of that kind of push-pull situation, I'm actually feeling very anxious today, like potentially on the verge of a depressive episode. Being aware of it makes a huge difference, and so I can kind of decide whether or not to buy into the thoughts that are happening. But my intellectual awareness of what the situation is doesn't actually change the biochemical emotional response that goes on. And so as we're looking towards the end of various stay-at-home orders, as we're seeing the possibility of the quarantine easing or even ending, I think even the people who are looking forward to getting out are going to face that same kind of stress, that same kind of push-pull, that same kind of anxiety over what's it going to be like now? What do I do now? How do I do this? What does it look like? Is it going to look like it did before? Probably not, but what does that mean? We don't really know. And that's stressful. Now, me personally, in a lot of ways, I hope it doesn't look like it did before. Personally, there are a lot of lessons that I think that we can all take from this about what we really need and what we don't really need, what we're better off not having. So for me, that's a stressor too. I would really like us as a group, as a society, to come out of this with a different understanding about things. I can be hopeful about that. As I mentioned in the last video, I tend to not be optimistic just by nature. So again, there's that push-pull and stress. But of course, where it comes from is the fact that I just don't know. So I'm suspecting as the quarantine eases and ends, we're all going to go through feelings of stress and anxiety. But like the quarantine itself, like this whole situation, it will pass. Whatever it is on the other end, we'll get there. We don't know what it's going to look like or how it's going to be, but whatever it is, we'll do it. It'll be okay. So that's it. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is staying safe. Keep washing your hands. It's still important. Keep social distancing. It's still important. And like I said, we'll get through this. Take care.